Hey brewers and beer lovers, welcome back to the garage for episode 3 of the Brew Up and Adventure podcast. Today I am going to be drinking Gunpowder IPA by the Brewing Projekt out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I was talking to a friend here in Idaho today and I kind of misspoke. I said that I have a love-hate relationship with this beer. Mostly it's a love and mild annoyance relationship with this beer because it's a really good beer that I've had before. My annoyance with it is that I had this beer when it was crystal clear, and Brewing Projekt changed brewers, and the new brewer made it a hazy IPA, which is fine. Like, it's a really good beer. It's just not what the original was, and so every time I pour it, I get a little bit sad because it's a hazy now. But it's still a damn good beer. The cool thing about this is I'm pretty sure it's the first IPA that I had that it's made with Citra Centennial hops for both the boil and dry hopping. And then it's got gunpowder green tea and orange peel in it. And it's the first IPA that I had that had tea in it, and it's really good. So, cheers. Oh, man, it's still such a good beer. Like, the aroma, you get all of that citron, centennial, grapefruit, and orange, and as the flavors fade, you get a hint of that tea, and the orange peel really punches up that citrus character a lot. There is nothing wrong with this beer. It's just, personally, I kind of wish they had changed the name when they made it hazy, because I don't know if it's just in my brain, but like it tastes a little bit sweeter than the original and stuff. And but it's still just a really, really good beer. So if you can find it, I believe it's in Wisconsin and Minnesota. Highly recommend it. Give it a shot. Wow, that is truly an excellent beer. Don't take my annoyance as criticism. It's just me being a grumpy old guy, I guess. But I'll stop talking about it and just enjoy this beer, and if you can get your hands on one, you enjoy it as well. So one of the things that I want to talk about today is kegging versus bottling. And I understand that there are people online who say that they enjoy bottling. And I'm skeptical. Not that I think they're liars, but I think bottling is probably the worst part of homebrewing. It's repetitive. If you're bottling 5 gallons, it takes a long time. if you're bottling 10 gallons, it's even worse. One time I had to bottle 13 gallons, and by the end of it, I just wanted someone to hit me in the head with a hammer. It was not fun. So, like, I personally would recommend that if you're serious about getting into home brewing and you plan to brew a lot, get stuff to keg your home brew as soon as you can possibly afford it. I had a friend who said that he doesn't think it takes any less time to keg, because every time that he filled a keg, he completely disassembled it, scrubbed it out really good, and then resanitized everything, and then transferred the beer into it. And when you do that, cleaning a corny keg does take a little bit of time, and but it still takes less time than it would take to clean enough 12-ounce bottles to bottle a 5-gallon batch of beer. And then basically, once your keg is clean and you get your siphon set up and you transfer the beer from the fermenter into your keg, that is the same amount of time it would take to transfer the beer from your fermenter into your bottling bucket, and then you have to bottle. So I strongly recommend that when you get started in home brewing, as soon as you have the money for it, get a kegging set up. I have a couple other videos on the channel. I'll put them at the end of this video so that you can click on those. It runs through the components for both the gas side and the liquid side of the kegging setup. And I will also link, I'll link an article on superbrewers.com below to basically the gas side and the liquid side articles, but embedded in those articles are the videos about explaining the parts and what they look like and stuff. So whether you choose to purchase a pre-made or pre-assembled kegging kit from an online homebrew shop or a local homebrew shop, preferably local, but I'll have links to a couple kegging setups in the notes below as well, below the article links. But you're at a minimum, you're gonna need at least one keg for whatever size batch you make. I would recommend a minimum of 2. And if you brew a lot, however many kegs you can afford. I have 3 5-gallon kegs that are totally usable. Then I have 2 2.5-gallon kegs, and I think there's only been one time that I've had all of them filled, but I only have room for 2 kegs in my kegerator. So what do you do with the extra kegs? They just sit around. But a lot of people have, if you convert a chest freezer into a kegerator, even the small chest freezers, you can easily get 4 kegs in. and stuff. But anyway, kegs, you're gonna need quick disconnects for either pin lock or ball lock, depending on the type of kegs you buy. Gas tubing, liquid tubing, regulator, and a CO2 tank. In both Wisconsin and Idaho, they don't do CO2 tank refills, so I would buy, like, hop on Craigslist, look for an inexpensive CO2 tank, because since they don't do refills, you're just gonna exchange it. I had a friend in Wisconsin that he had a very nice CO2 tank that he loved, and so he would bring it to the place to get it refilled, but it might take a week or two for him to get it back because they weren't set up to just refill it on the spot like they used to. And so I don't see the point in necessarily purchasing a really nice CO2 tank, since you're just going to have to give it to whatever service does the exchange in your area. If you know that you can get your tank refilled, then it might be worth it to buy a tank that you like or that looks nice or whatever. But check with homebrewers in your area. And then, like, I started out using picnic taps to serve. Here. So disconnect goes onto the liquid post on my pin lock keg, and then just it's called a picnic tap or a cobra tap because of the little thumb thing. That's how I started. And then, like, if you have the money right away, you can set up multiple taps, but the picnic taps are very inexpensive, so it's a good way to get started. And then you can always add taps to your kegerator later, which I'm actually going to be doing a video soon about doing that. The nice thing about going to kegging is you can still bottle your homebrew off of the keg post, like, once it's carbonated. There's a couple different ways you can do it. Like, you can get a Blickman beer gun or another counter pressure, or the beer gun is not a counter pressure filler, but the other option is to get a counter pressure filler so that you can bottle carbonated beer and then cap it. I use the brewery I work at uses Blickman beer guns for all of their barrel-aged specialty beers. For bottling my home brews, I've just used a bottling wand. Take the tip off of it so it's just the straight tube. I just cram it into the spout of the picnic tap, and I use that to fill the bottles, and I've had good luck with that. I've had beers last a couple months. Most of the time it was just to fill a growler to go to a friend's house and stuff. So you've still got options for filling bottles and stuff off of your kegs to give as gifts, or if you don't have enough kegs to keep up with how rapidly you're brewing, once you get down to like the bottom part of the keg, you can bottle off the rest of the beer that's in there, and then that frees up that keg for your next batch. But I highly, highly recommend, for your own sanity, switch over to kegging from bottling as soon as possible. You'll like it a lot more. I know bottling is less expensive to get started. Most of us as craft beer lovers, like, if we drink bottled craft beer, we have lots of bottles, but you gotta get you don't have to get the labels off of them, but it looks better. And I don't care a ton about how stuff looks, but I do prefer not having the commercial labels still on the bottles. And then so your bottles might be free, and then you just need caps and a capper. A lot of beginning homebrew setups come with a wing capper, which I quickly hated because I would not push down evenly with both hands, and I cracked the neck on a couple bottles, which luckily nobody got hurt, but I did have someone was opening a bottle of my homebrew and the neck snapped and came off, and so like that glass could have fallen into the beer, and then if they had drank in it, it could have caused problems in their digestive system. So I wound up spending like $50 on a bench capper, which like that's basically the cost of a regulator. So like that, I can see arguments either way, where the money that you spend on equipment for bottling could be spent going towards your kegging setup, but like a kegging setup is pricey to get set up or to get started. So when it's okay to bottle, like if you actually do like bottling, just keep bottling. Like that's great for you. I just don't like it. But once I made the switch to kegging, I enjoyed homebrewing so much more. So that's what I got to say about kegging versus bottling. If you disagree, shoot me an email, jake@superbrewers.com. I'd love to hear other perspectives. Leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube, or email me, like I said before, jake@superbrewers.com. And then for the last segment of the podcast, what's going on in my life? Right now, it's the start of 2021, and like in the last podcast, I listed all the things I'm grateful for, and I missed snowboarding because I think it kind of got incorporated with moving to the mountains, but I am very thankful for snowboarding. I got to do that today, and man, I'm just hoping sanity comes back in 2021. Like, just everything is so weird with COVID-19 and all the regulations and physical distancing and not being able to get together. Now that I'm in Haley, Idaho, I'm hoping to get some sort of homebrew club started. I don't even know if there's other homebrewers around, because I haven't gotten to meet many people other than the people that work at the brewery where I work. So yeah, like I am looking forward to 2021, hoping for great things, and just looking forward to brewing more beer, hopefully getting to make friends with other beer nerds that I haven't had the chance to meet yet, and do lots more snowboarding because it's only January. So keeping my fingers crossed to get out there and do some shredding. So thanks for listening to me ramble. If you are just getting started in homebrewing, feel free to shoot me questions at jake@superbrewers.com, or again, if you're on YouTube, put them in the comments below. I'll try to respond, might even make a video if I think that's a better way to answer your question. But yeah, Happy New Year. Hope it's off to a good start for you, and get out there, make good beer, brew up an adventure. Cheers.